Back once again for the renegade master. 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 Back once again for the renegade master.
Hello my renegades and welcome back. And what are we getting back into? We are into Love Island series 11. We are now on episode 28 and it's recoupling time. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, I don't know what I can say. These people, like seriously, these people are on a different brand all to themselves. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, before we get into this video, as I always ask, please hit that subscribe button, please hit that notification button so you know when I'm doing videos. Please comment, like, share and do all the good things that you do, because I am on the road to 1k. Anyway, let's get into this episode. As I said, we already know there's a recoupling coming. There is decisions to make. Some of these guys literally have to come to terms with that the people that they originally paired up with are not good people, and you like know who I mean. Nicole can't wait to go back to get her hands on Kieran. Jess is definitely taking Hugo back with her. The Villa girls, majority of them really be thinking that the men are going to pick them. I think Jessica could be the only assured one that AO is going to pick her, because this is just AO's boat all over the place. And as I said, there'd only be one guy in there that will be stupid enough to fuck over a Villa OG, and it'll be AO. Because he's always on that proviso that something better is going to come along, and he's the grass is greener type of person. AO will never be satisfied. And to be fair, Mimii is better off out of it, like honestly better off out of it. Matilda wants to see Sean and is nervous, and Mimii is excited to see AO, and I'm like, my girl, you are going to have your head bust wide open, like seriously bust wide open with what the hell is going to happen here. Let's just put it that way. So the Villa people all sitting around the fire pit because they got ready for the night, because time is of the essence, and in walks Maya. My god, she looked good. Even Kieran gave her a compliment and she took it as intended. And I'm like, these boys are not going to be honest at all when it comes to their deliberations. They're going to chat shit to try and make basically excuses of their behaviour and why they're picking the person that they're picking at the end of the day. Okay, so it's going to be stick or twist, and here it goes, because we go straight into it. As I already said, Casa Amor is the ultimate test, and AO failed. Will failed. Sean failed. All three of them failed the ultimate test. Let's just put it that way. So Connor went first, and he was with Grace, but it's just a friendship couple between them two. So Connor does pick Emma. So one of the Casa Amor girls gets to go into the villa with Connor. It didn't surprise me that he was going to pick Emma. And Nicole is now going to have her answers on who Emma is once she gets in the villa anyway. So when Grace walks in, I wasn't shocked that she brought in Blade. Joey looked hella apprehensive, and Grace and Emma, now we know each other as well. I was like, yeah, Joey couldn't compete with Blade, and that's the reasoning why Grace brought Blade instead of picking Messiah at the end of the day. She thought Blade would be more of an impact on Joey than Messiah would be. So Grace starts talking about how the initial attraction was there with Blade. I'm saying this is where Grace likes to play games, yeah, because she knows every word that she's saying is a freaking dart to Joey, and you can see it on Joey's face. Joey's trying to look everywhere but at them, and as I said, Blade was just a better fit for what Grace wanted. Joey did look uncomfortable when they came and sat down next to him, or near enough. I think one was there, Joey was there, and then they came and sat next to the person who was in the middle of them two. And it's just the way that Grace kept peeking, side-eyeing at Joey. The next one up was Sean. I'm like, okay, this man enjoyed himself like a kid in a candy store, and he says he made beautiful connections. He says they were both beautiful, And Diamante's there smiling like she won the prize. And I'm like, no, 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 no. No, no, my love. Her smile quickly dropped when Sean turned around and says that he was going to stick with Matilda. And I thought, my girl, were you not listening to the words that were coming out of Sean's mouth before he actually said that he was going to stick with Matilda? Yes, you're both beautiful girls, but then he went but and then said the rest. Diamante was not happy with that at all. Ruby turned around and whispered it was a waste of my fucking time. I says, I mean, what did you expect, my girl? There was always going to be the possibility that he would not pick any of you up in there, that he was going to stick with the person that he had that connection with, which is Matilda. So Matilda walks in by herself. And it's a sad thing to see that when these girls walk in by themselves, they're so freaking happy seeing the guys standing there by themselves, not realizing you're walking into a bag of shit because they've just made you look like a dickhead, to be fair, with the things that they've been doing with the girls up in there. So I just knew that Diamante was not going to keep quiet. So I thought, at the end of the day, my guy, if you are going to sit and explain to Matilda how your time was, as Maya was, because Maya was stirring that part a little bit, man, with you. Maya was asking the right questions of them, to be fair, and getting out what she needed to. So my thing is, if he's answering those questions, he needs to tell the truth. So Sean does say that he did explore other connections, but knew they were not as strong as Matilda. And I thought, you're literally trying to stick a plaster over it right now, because you really don't want Matilda to know the actual shit that you did get down to with these girls. So it's kind of like Sean is talking a good game, but he's not prepared to wade through the bullshit that he did. Yeah, he's not prepared to literally let Matilda know the truth of it at the end of the day. So Matilda then also said that she explored connections too. So she turned around and she asked Sean, well, who were the girls that you explored connections with? So he named the girls. He says Diamante and Ruby. So I think they went to Diamante to ask her what her feelings was, and Diamante didn't brought no argument. She turned around and said, it's a bit weird. You can tell someone that they're your priority, and then this is how you treat your priorities. Matilda turned around and replied, but you're not sat here, babe. And I thought, Matilda, don't do that. Don't stand on ceremony, because at the end of the day, Sean did display some shitty behaviour up in there. Sean did make it appear, yeah, as though he was really into either Ruby and Diamante with the things that he was saying to them and the shit that he was doing with them at the end of the day. So Diamante did let it out, in terms of saying that, you know what, he kissed her up in the bed too and everything like that. So Matilda is starting to find out how kind of untrustworthy Sean can be. But I think she's going to have to end up doing that on her own, because right now, Matilda is doing what all girls do. We do the save face, so we'll have our man's back and this, that and the other. So Sean is there turning around and saying that he made it clear, because Matilda did what she did in her response to Diamante. Sean thinks, like, you know what, he's got a cover, he's got a blanket basically, that he can let shit fly now because he's got protection from Matilda. So he turned around and he said that he did make it clear to Ruby and Diamante in regards to him wanting Matilda. And I was like, no you didn't, Sean. No you didn't, Sean. Not in the fucking slightest. All I would say is Diamante needed to stop arguing with the man, because Matilda is literally saving face at this moment in time. At the end of the day, Matilda's got her back up, because she's starting to hear some shit about this man she didn't realise was being this way up in the villa, or could be this way up in the villa, from someone she don't freaking know at the end of the day. So it's coming as a shock to Matilda. So I don't blame Matilda being defensive in the way that she's being defensive. Yeah. So Sean literally then turned around. Now, if you understand the historical context of a watermelon, you will know why I was pissed off by this comment that Sean made. He literally turned around and said to Diamante, a black woman, you can't beat a watermelon slice. I was like, did you really say that out of your mouth and with your chest, my guy? Do you not really understand the historical connotations around the watermelon, or a watermelon, or however you want to put it, and black people? Yeah, that was not the one for me. That was not the one for me. So Damonte stood there and was calling Sean out left, right, and centre and up and down that place. Matilda and Sean were literally doing bits, like seriously. So then Ruby let her voice be known as well, and basically she ended it with boys will be boys. So Matilda says, well, what does that mean? And I was like, oh God. But Ruby didn't play into Matilda's bullshit at the end of the day, because Matilda knew exactly what she was talking about. So that's why Ruby only repeated, basically, I didn't mean anything by it. It's just exactly how I said it. So basically Matilda said after hearing all of that, she had no reservations at all. I was like, but still, Matilda did get to know another person within the casa, which was Hugo, but I don't think she got to know him the way that Jess got to know him. So up next was Kieran, and he basically said that he was closed off for Nicole and he stayed true with her. He has never felt love like this. And at that point I was so happy for Kieran, and I thought after this Nicole needs to have that little bit of faith of him. He turned around and he did say he did know Ellie back in the day, but it was Lucy who kept on kissing him in the game, which he didn't like. So Nicole's came in and she was crying so hard when she realised the man that she wanted, the man that she'd been angsting over, was stood there by himself, and even Maya cried. So again, Kieran is more mature than most of these people up there. Kieran does say to her, like, I'll get within the choosing from when Trey chooses, does say to Nicole that, you know what, he knows Ellie, but she ain't part of the 120 people, so she didn't need to worry there. But he would explain it to her more, and already Nicole had her back up, and I was like, just cool your jets, calm your tits, love. Now ain't the time for it. So next up came Trey, and he basically took Ellie. It's the fact that Trey kept on talking about his relationship with Jess as embryonic. I said, who the fuck uses the word embryonic in a raw sentence, my guy? Stop trying to be lavish. Just say it as it is. Yeah, you and Jess were in your early stages of getting to know each other, so you don't know where the hell it was panning out, so you decided to use the opportunity to get to know Ellie at the end of the day. So Jess then walks in, so they bring Jess in, and Jess walks in with Hugo. Now, straight off the bat, it seems as though Jess and Trey literally had some animosity towards each other, and I thought, well, where's that come from? Because at the end of the day, they're doing exactly what they wanted, played it exactly how they wanted to play it. What was Trey expecting Jess to come in by herself, and was Jess expecting Trey to be standing there and wait for her when Jess already knows that she didn't like Trey in the slightest? Come on now, they need to and this is what I mean when they talk about maturity. These guys do not have maturity in the slightest, but yet they want to call Kieran immature. So it comes to the fact of the thing where Jess turns around and calls Trey, what the fuck does she call him? What does she call him? Troy. She calls him Troy. And I was like, are you okay, my gal? Because that was petty as hell. And if I was Ellie, I'll be looking at how Trey is kind of reacting to the fact that Jess has brought somebody in. And if I was Hugo, I'll be looking at the fact that how Jess is reacting to the fact that Trey is sitting there with somebody else. That exchange between them two was hella weird, like proper weird. Up next was Will. I was like, oh, here we go. So he says that he's been feeling nervous as he only explored Uma when he came in as a bombshell. He says he has no regrets about it, but there'll be a big but after that statement. He does speak about the connection he made in the villa with Lucy, and he felt it right to explore that. Maya did mention the fact, well, did you explore that when you went to the hideaway terrace? And I was like, go on Maya, you put that out there, because you know what, Will was going to try and fly under that radar and keep things to himself. Majority of the girls sat there with their mouth open wide as if to say, you playing, my guy, you took someone to the hideaway terrace. Okay. I thought, right now, whatever Will says will not make anything sound right at the moment. So he decided to stick with Uma. Lucy was not happy with that at all. So Uma comes in alone, as she knew she would, and she was so excited to see Will, not realizing what was going to come next. She didn't know what was in store for her. Again, these men have these girls coming in all excited to see them, believing that they're straight true to them. And this is why I think the terminology that was used when they said, like Will has decided to stay true to you. Essentially, no, he didn't. He's decided to stick with Uma, yeah, but he didn't stay true to her while he was in that villa with the Casa Amor girls. He didn't stay true to her. So for me, that's kind of like, they should use a different word in that sense. So she was asked, how does it feel that Will stayed loyal to her? He didn't stay loyal though. And I think everybody has a different meaning when it comes to the words loyalty at the end of the day. So Uma clarified that no one turned her head, and Will had no choice but to say that one girl did for him. And basically, it was his normal type on paper. So he calls out Lucy's name when Maya asks who, and Lucy says that they ended up having kisses and cuddles. Uma is not happy with that, and you can see Uma's looking like as if to say, are you taking the piss right now? The words didn't come out of her mouth, but her face was saying everything she needed to say. And I think Will was picking that up, because Will literally was trying to look everywhere but at Uma. And Will looked like he was sweating balls at that moment. This hurt Uma bad, and Diamante starts laughing. I said, my girl, come on, don't do that to a fellow black girl. Don't do that. Don't rain on her like that, because at the end of the day, the situation was bad enough. So then Jess rightfully calls her out on it. Do you think Diamante meekly shut the fuck up? No, she didn't. She didn't. Uma was not happy, so Uma went to go and sit with Will, and Will turned around and said that he will explain exactly what happened. And I'm like, explain what though, my guy? What are you going to explain? At the end of the day, Will was kissing this girl enough. Will even went to the point of saying to this girl what she would say if he was to recouple. Would she be happy he was to recouple with her? He was giving Lucy the impression that, things ain't all as it seems with Uma. So yeah, what has he got to explain? So next up, Joey, who actually stayed true and fair and sticking with Jessie. And then also Jessie came in by herself. She said that she was going to trust him. Grace's face said it all. And this is why I'm saying to you, Grace still wants Joey. Grace still wants Joey. And this is why I know why she picked Blade. But hey ho, we'll see what happens next. So up next, the last but not least is Ayo. So now, the Villa OG girls start catching on when Ayo starts talking, and you can see that they're all giving each other side eyes, because they know that Mimii is going to come in here by herself and be shocked the hell and back, because Mimii is a very loyal girl. But for Ayo, it was out of sight, out of mind, and Ayo's trying to play hard right now in terms of the words that he is saying, and he's trying to be careful with what he is saying, because he doesn't want to commit himself too much. So Ayo then picked Jessica, and he's won me so much, because all the girls were like, is he fucking playing? Is he really just picked someone else over Mimii after he's been with Mimii for that long? Ayo's a weak man. And all I know is Mimii will be good, because hopefully from this she will know and realize and recognize her worth, and Ayo is not worthy of her in the slightest, and his behavior has shown that. Mimii walks in, and she comes in by herself, and you could see when she didn't see Ayo stood there, and then she saw him sat down with the girl. I thought to myself, hold your head up, my girl. Hold your head up, my girl. Mimii made her decision definitely at that point what she was going to do with Ayo. Now he's done it again. The rest of the lads, they have their chat with her and stuff like that, and you could see how hurt Mimii is. So they end up bringing in the rest of the lads from Casa Amor so they could all have a chat and get to meet, because they're going to leave along with the other girls that didn't get picked from Casa Amor in the villa. And I was just like, after that, I said, why Jessica I cry for? Why is she crying? She got what she wanted. Connor sits down with Ayo and tells him about the lads will stand by him. I thought, bin it, Connor, for real. Like, seriously, at the end of the day, Ayo hurt Mimii, and that needs to be noted. Not once now, but twice this man has done this to this girl, yeah? So Connor can shove that sentiment right up his eye. Because I think Ayo knew when Ayo sat down there looking stunner than the motherfucker. When Ayo sat there looking stunned, yeah, he knew in that moment he fucked up. Ayo knew in that moment he fucked up. So Uma and Mimii are both asking the question why Jessie's crying, because I'm like, yeah, why is she crying? Because at the end of the day, Jessica is now making it all about herself when it's got nothing to do with her. At the end of the day, she came in and did what she did. Ayo is the one that owed the loyalty to Mimii. Mimii is going to have hurt. At the end of the day, Jessica's going to have to suck that shit up and actually put some bones into it, because at the end of the day, there's going to be a fallout from what the fuck that happened. So Uma speaks into Mimii, but Mimii sees it as Ayo has failed miserably, and Ayo was playing with her. It was a facade. Mimii was when Mimii pulled up that it was all a facade with Ayo, and Uma was going as far as saying, no, I don't think it was. Yes, it was. Ayo was biding his time. That's why he wouldn't fully commit to Mimii at the end of the day. So I'm glad Mimii's able to see the bullshit that is Ayo right now. So Kieran does explain that they didn't know each other, but he'd slid into her DMs, and that kind of was it. He didn't go into the full ins and outs of everything. He did say that he'd seen her in a club or da-da-da-da-da. It wasn't anything big at the end of the day. So Uma and Will have a chat, and Uma is very annoyed and disappointed, which I don't blame her at the end of the day. Uma basically said that she stayed true to herself, and now Will is sitting there truly trying to assert responsibility for his own actions, and then he had the audacity. And you see, this doesn't happen here as well. It happens again where Will has some tendencies of gaslighting. You can see it. The first one is this one, where he tries to blame Uma for not closing things off with him, and I'm like, are you okay, my guy? How in the fuck does you deciding to kiss up somebody else, yeah, all up in the bed that you share with Uma, it's got Uma's name on that bed, remember that one, in the fucking hideaway retreat where you've never been before and you've never taken Uma to, then you had the audacity to turn around and say to Lucy how she would feel if he recoupled with her, and then wants to blame Uma for all of that because she didn't close things off with him. Is he having a motherfucking laugh right now? Like, seriously? Wow. I know, I'm sorry. Would have been on par for that right now. So Uma basically had him and told Will exactly what Blade said about him. And my thing is how can you chat about wanting clothes off when in the next breath you're ready to cuddle up with somebody in bed? Because the thing of it, what that would have shown is, if you really wanted to stay true to Uma at the end of the day, and you both had that conversation and you both had decided to close off with each other, what the fuck do you think Will would do in this scenario? Do you think he would not break that deal that he had with Uma just to do the same last thing? Yeah, nah. No. Uma then gets hella mad when she finds out Will took Lucy to the hideaway. Because that kind of just slipped out of his mouth by accident when he was telling Uma exactly where he'd been kissing where he'd been kissing Lucy that slipped out by accident. I think it's at this point where Uma's like, who the fuck have I coupled up with? It's at that point Uma's realised that she's with the wrong person, and she's literally opened herself up to someone who is not worthy of her as well. So Ao goes over to Mimii, and I'm like, why is this man trying to act all contrite? At the end of the day, yeah, you didn't think of being about Mimii. Stand by your decision, my guys. Stand by your decision. Say to Mimii you're standing by your decision, and you're sorry if it hurt her, and da 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 da. But no, Ao goes straight in about himself. Mimii is sitting there and letting him talk. You know, Mimi's like me, like she's sitting there just like, yeah. I don't know what he wants her to do. There was no reaction from Mimii, and I think Mimii dealt with it hella well, because Mimii has always kept saying she really doesn't want that side of herself which is unrecognizable to come out. She doesn't want that, because at the end of the day, what is the use in shouting and screaming up in this person's face when it's not going to change the situation in the slightest at the end of the day? So Mimii just sat there as cool, calm and collected, like, is it now? So Ao really tried to play with Mimii as though things didn't have to end. I was like, my guy, are you okay? Shall someone check your pulse to see if you are still breathing and the oxygen is going to your brain? Because you could not be sitting there in Mimi's face trying to tell her that even though you've got Jessica over there, that you still want to get to know Mimii. Get to know Mimii for what? Because you've been with her for a month. You should have already got to know Mimii. So Mimii tells him straight off the bat things have changed with her, and he says, why? My man says, why? Mimii tells him she went to Casa feeling sweet about their situation. Mimii said that she was not swayed in the slightest, as she knew she would come back to Ao. Ao didn't understand where Mimii was coming from, and was now trying to justify his connection that he had with someone for a few days, akin to the first time that they pulled up on an island, yeah, and he ended up with Mimii. So yeah, Mimii was not having none of it. So Ao's turned around to me, asking Mimii if she's going to push man to the side. Mimii stared that man dead in his eye and said, yes, I am. You're not worthy. At the end of the day, Mimii didn't have to shout and bawl to get her message across. How Mimii was playing it hit Ao more than whether if she gave a full-on reaction, because if she'd given a full-on shouting, bawling, screaming match to this man, Ao would definitely know that he's got to her. Ao would then know that she cares. Ao would then know that, you know what, she still wants him because she's so angry. Mimii didn't give him that in the slightest. Mimii just said, you know what, it's finished. Do you think I'm going to sit here like a dickhead of a gal, yeah, like I did with Uma, and allow you to do the same thing? Nah, mate, you ain't doing me like that twice. So Ao was showing no signs though to Mimii that he wasn't for her, but I'm glad she saw them now, so it's better late than never in my books. So Ao's continuing to talk and basically saying that he wasn't unsure about Mimii, and I thought, yes you were, my guy, because if you were so sure about Mimii, you wouldn't have been able to have your head turned by somebody else. He wouldn't have stepped away with her in a way that he did. But Ao fully fumbled it when it came to Mimii now. So it's a him problem now. So Mimii got up and walked away from him. Ao looked so sorry for himself, because I said, at this point, now Ao's realising what he's just lost and why. I don't know why Ao thinks that he needs to have two girls on the ball. Well, is it because if he thinks if one doesn't work out with the other, he can go back to the other one? Now Mimii is not his rotted placeholder at the end of the day. So Ao is saying to Jessica now, because Jessica waltzes over to give him hugs and kisses and like to ask him if he's okay. So Ao's saying it to Jessica that he made the decision he wanted to make and was happy with the decision he wanted to make, but didn't want to upset Mimii. But in the next breath, my guy, Ao was telling Mimii that it didn't need to end. Dude, he's dusty musty. He's a dusty musty. He's so flicky muggy, it's untrue. He doesn't know the truth. It was slap up and give him a good old rotted smack bang wallop up in his face. So everybody that is saying, hey, Mimi needed to stand up and yada yada yada, she played it exactly how she needed to play it. At the end of the day, the truth will always out. So Mimi was going to find out and have her eyes opened. The universe was going to show her that at the end of the day, and then Mimi would act accordingly, which is what she did. Which is what she did. So Ao, you can see, turns to Will when he's having a conversation with Will and basically said, if I don't make a decision that would make me happy, that would make everyone else happy, then I wouldn't be happy. So Ao's saying he made a decision that would make him happy. Don't look very happy at the moment, though, my love. At all. Yeah. So anyway, that is where that episode ended. I'll be back in quick succession with the next episode. As I always say, please hit that subscribe button, please hit that notification button so you know when I'm doing videos. Please comment, like, share and do all the good things that you do, because I am on the road to 1k, and I'll be back on your screens very, very soon. Peace out.